on your radio, online and on the ABC Listen app. This is ABC Southern Queensland.
Well, a couple of weeks back, at around about this time, I had a chat in the studio with Rotarian Mal Padgett and fellow Toowoomba Rotarian John Lehane, because they were about to embark on a bit of a road trip that they called the Get Your Bum Into Gear Queensland Bowel Cancer Awareness Tour. They were going to travelling to Cairns, covering a lot of ground, doing it via Roma, Emerald and Charters Towers, and then Billawheeler. So they were taking the scenic route, as you might say. But there was a method to their madness. They wanted to get the message out about the need to for men under the age of 50, certainly over the age of 50, to be screened for bowel cancer. The risk is very real in that age group. It's not something you can ignore just because of the nature of it. Let's see how they're going with that as they prepare to get back on the road for Warwick today. Mal Padgett joins me now. Mal, good morning and welcome.
And good morning. And there'll be 9 people on bikes out looking for that escaped the convict or the escape guy. Yeah. Watch out.
Yeah, that's right. If you could pick up like just some portable blue lights or something from the cheap shop, just so that show him you mean business. But I think they'd appreciate all hands on deck. Yeah,
well, we've been working very closely with the Queensland Police
Indeed.
This last few weeks, so we feel like we're members, actually.
Now, tell me how that aspect of the trip has gone, firstly, Mal, because I know that, and for reasons that we discussed a couple of weeks back when the pair of you were in the studio, you were focusing a lot on police, and I know that was largely driven by the police officer in Brisbane who's, come out and talked about her personal experience with bowel cancer. But how has that message been received by the boys in blue?
When we did this, we didn't know what stories that we would come back with. But some of the stories we've picked up through the Police Association have been really amazing. Just to give you an example, in Maryborough, there was the sergeant in charge. He had polyps from his test, but he didn't think to talk about it with his 100 staff. One constable there was one when his father died of bowel cancer at age 33. And then there are 3 people under 50 in that one station who had bowel cancer in their family. And because we were there, and then because other guys were talking about it, they realised that they should take a test kit. There's those sorts of stories where we're raising awareness. People are talking about it now in the station, and we should, because it's the second highest cancer killer in Australia. That's what we've achieved, I think.
It's really interesting, though, because you can read those statistics on paper, and they're alarming, but it doesn't really hit home. But you guys getting out and actually seeing those statistics, writ large in front of you, so in any given police station, either someone there had suffered it or someone in their family had suffered it. It makes you realise just how common and how real a risk it is, and how worth it is, taking precautions and getting screened early.
No, totally. There was one member in Cairns. He had bowel cancer, so we did a piece of camera with him. And I don't think he necessarily was open about or spoke widely about it in his station, but now people are talking about it in all the places that we've gone through.
What sort of feedback are you getting from people following your trip online? Because you mentioned you did a piece to camera. When you came in here, you were filming part of our interview. I assume I might have ended up on the cutting room floor, and that's all right. But are you getting a lot of feedback from followers on social media about this trip?
Yeah. Well, we've increased our social media, which is great, and you will be on social media. Don't worry about that. I just haven't had a chance to do it yet. But
all that photoshopping, it's hard work.
No, you got great filters these days. Would you like some flowers around your eyes or something like that? We can do that.
Look, maybe whatever it takes,
Now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to build our social media presence, because you can imagine that it's not something that people would follow with. We're talking about sort of poo and cancer and bums and things like that. But It's important that we do, because the more followers we get, then we can get more people being aware of it as people share and like our content. But people have been very supportive on social media. And when we went to Billawheeler, for instance, we had a town talk. We had local businesses, we had the council, had fire brigade and so on. And now that town is motivated to raise their awareness of bowel cancer because they're 20% above the national average for preventable bowel cancer deaths.
Yes.
And Warwick is 27% above, so that's why we're going there today.
There today. And it's funny, we didn't really, sort of drill down or didn't really have the details as to why those two towns were so high above average. And I guess the reasons don't really matter, but the message was particularly relevant for those two towns.
Yeah, well, some towns are high with diagnosis. For instance, Kingaroy is very high with diagnosis, but they're below average for preventable bowel cancer deaths. They're in the blue range. So I guess it's probably local knowledge, local awareness. Could be even the local medical establishment and so on, just picking up on what the clues are. We've had quite a few stories, sadly, where young people have had the early signs and it took them like a year to get through to the point where they're actually diagnosed.
Wow, that's a little bit scary, isn't it? And it's something that can progress quite quickly in that time. So
it is. You don't want to go to stage 4, and there's a few people that we know, like 27 in stage 4.
Goodness. Can I ask too, I know you were approaching not just police officers but also targeting truckies with this campaign. How has that gone? Because truckies have got a bit of a reputation of not necessarily looking after themselves because of the demands of the job.
That's it. Well, the Queensland Trucking Association is partnering with us. We spent one overnight session at a BP truck stop in Townsville. And that was interesting, seeing the fellows drag themselves in the middle of the night, having a shower, and this bloke sort of leapt out and say, "Here, have a test kit." But they did, and they were very responsive. And today, actually, with the Queensland Trucking Association, they'll be down at Warwick. We're going to a couple of trucking companies down there. They've got hundreds of employees, and they're part of the target as well. Yeah, so it'll be Fraser and Wickham's we're going to go to see today.
Fantastic. And tell me what else is happening in Warwick while you're at it. So you're targeting the truckies with those particular firms, and what else is on the cards for your trip down there?
Well, today we're actually riding with 8 other locals from Toowoomba, so we'll have a peloton of Toowoomba-ites going down. And actually today I'm honouring my brother who died of bowel cancer at 47 20 years ago this coming Monday. So I've got his picture on the back of my jersey. So it's a big day for my family.
How much of a compulsion has that been for this whole campaign for you? Is that something you keep in the forefront of your mind?
The reason I'm in Rotary, actually, because the fellow I knew in a club, he said, we need to get this social media thing happening, Jeff Wilson, and sadly he passed away last year, but he got me into Rotary to do this, and John Lehane, who's gone around with me, he's very passionate about this whole story, and he survived bowel cancer 15 years ago. He had stage 3, and he's still here, and so thankfully he's pushing his local clubs to be more involved, and I think after last night's meeting of his Rotary Club, I think his club's going to support him as well.
Mal, I might get you to actually put John on, because I understand that, the last time we were talking, I think he was quivering in anticipation of the physical workout you had planned for him, and the health kick. And some of the strategies you plan to use. I better find out how that all went.
Yes, David. I think it fell into place. We had some busy days, but we rolled on and we met deadlines and met people at the right time, and we got there. And just some fantastic stories along the way, particularly some left field of, as Mel was saying early on, just left field, younger ladies in particular, that have got serious issues that weren't identified until late.
And that seems to be the recurring theme, doesn't it? That, and that's what it takes, I guess, is hearing a story of someone who put it off and then finally went and had that screened, had that test, and then found that, gee, they shouldn't have put it off. So, as horrible as it is to hear those stories, they are motivators, aren't they?
There's also the people that are presenting, well, they've got symptoms, but because they're so young, the fraternity is sort of looking at other issues first, and that sadly seems to be a common theme too. But rightly, as you say, there are other people who, it'll go away, and that's not correct.
When you were in here last couple of weeks back, part of this trip, I mean, obviously getting the word out, and that was the primary motivator, but it was also going to be sort of a bit of a health kick and a bit of a sort of get you into shape as well. Has that been daunting, the riding part of it and the physical part of this whole trip?
Well, I was the escort driver, so if Mal slowed down, I just gave him a bit of a push with the bull bar. But
So it was more different diet, I think, than exercise for you.
Tough, David. It was really tough. But no, seriously, Mal's right to promote. We did eat less. I thought more about what I was consuming, and I lost about 3 kilograms. So part of that was sort of being the roadie, pulling stuff in and out of the back of the car and being ready at the right time. But no, it was all part of a very personally satisfying time for myself.
That's fantastic. And you had that constant motivation, I guess. You know, the whole thing's been about health and doing better things for your health. So you were constantly reminded of the value of doing this, I guess.
Most definitely, David. I mean, we're only on this earth once. We've got to make a good fist of it. So we're presented with opportunities, grab them.
So from here, you're going to Warwick today, but then, and that is pretty much the end of the trip, but obviously not the end of the campaign. So you're still getting the word out there, and I guess also, asking people for donations to be able to keep this campaign going.
I'll put you back on the mail and make a comment on that one as well.
All right. John, best of luck for this last leg. Great to chat.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks very much. John Lehane there is on this trip. Mal, just quickly, where to from here?
Well, if people can search for Bowelscan, hashtag BowelscanQLD, they will find $20 test kits available on our website and also all on the socials and Spotify with that bowel cancer killing.
That's right, the playlist.
Song list.
Yes, indeed.
It's been very popular.
Encourage people to have a look at that. That kept you going.
Well, the young ones, they love it. So, yeah. But hashtag BowelscanQLD. Please follow us on social media. We really appreciate it.
Well, Mal, a pleasure to have a chat to you. Good luck on this last leg today. And as you said, it's going to be have particular poignance for you. But I hope it goes well. And great to have a chat to you both this morning.
Thank you for your support, David. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Mal. All the best.
Cheers.
Thank you, Mal Padgett and John Lehane. So if you see that peloton of riders heading down there to spread the word about bowel screening on the way to Warwick today, then give them a toot and keep that message in mind. ABC News on the way at 7 o'clock.